Loneliness is a deep longing for connection. We can put ourselves in the busiest city or surround ourselves with a lot of friends or finally get that partner, but then it still feels like there's something missing. Welcome to the Mastering Mindfulness Institute. Here, we explore how food can become your greatest teacher and your body can become your wisest guide. I'm your host, Gina Warfel, helping you build a deeper connection with your food and body. Let's begin our journey together. Hey, welcome back. Let's talk about loneliness, that feeling of emptiness inside of your heart, inside of your mind, in your body, where you might feel really disconnected from other people. Loneliness is a deep longing for connection, and we search and search and search. Sometimes we can put ourselves in the busiest city or surround ourselves with a lot of friends or finally get that partner, but then it still feels like there's something missing. Why does it feel like there's disconnection? And I honestly believe that if we could answer this question and solve for loneliness, we would solve the root of a lot of health issues because it's not a bad thing, but food can provide a sense of connection, wholeness, safety, and fullness inside of our bodies that we're looking for when we don't know how to do it from within. Today, I want to share how this feeling of loneliness can become a really powerful transformational experience. I know it can feel so crippling and very empty inside of our bodies, but if you can see this as a potent time to learn and discover yourself, you can rebuild a stronger sense of connection than maybe what you have ever felt in your whole life. You might start to wonder, why do I feel lonely or empty or disconnected? How did I get here? Was I born this way or was I just not around enough people? And if you look back, let's look at children as the example. You could look at a child playing by themselves. Maybe they're in their room for hours and you sneak up in the room and you open the door and you look at them and maybe they're just dancing around and laughing and playing and giggling and playing with their toys and playing with their stuffed animals and jumping on the bed. And they're so wrapped up in themselves, in this pure presence. They're not sad and feeling lonely. They are feeling the connection and the presence and the truth of really who they are. There's no loneliness. So let's study what these children know about feeling connection so that whether you're in a partnership or navigating through this life, there's a sense of wholeness and connection and fulfillment. So I think that what happens is we're all born feeling this sense of who we are, and we're so present living just in ourselves, like that child that's playing. They're so present with themselves. They're not questioning who they really are. But throughout life, we have these different life experiences that change what we think of ourselves. So maybe when you were 4, there was this pureness. You felt good enough. You didn't have to question if you were good enough for the world or not. You were just fully playing. And there's, based on the model of internal family systems, they say that we're all born present, patient, we have perspective, we're persistent, and we're playful. It's our natural core qualities. Like we're just born this way. And as we have different experiences, let's say you turn 7 or 8 and now you're in school and kids start picking on you. And then you start thinking, wait, am I good enough? Am I good enough to fit in? And you accumulate all these different life experiences that make you question this part of who you are, that you're good enough, the true qualities of your being. So over time, as those doubts, judgments, uncertainties about who you are start to cloud who you really are, you start to lose this disconnection from yourself. Now imagine you're in a room alone by yourself and where you would be that child that is so present in their enoughness, but now you've had these experiences and you're sitting alone and you're wondering, am I good enough? And that doubt is what keeps you from being present and from feeling in connection with your true self. When you're in connection with your true, authentic self, it doesn't feel lonely. It feels like you have a companion, like you are your own friend. You enjoy your company because you know yourself. You're like, you're my best friend. Let's go hang out. But it feels painful when you're by yourself And the feeling is, I'm not good enough as a human being. And when you feel something like that inside of you, maybe it's those words, maybe it's something different. But when you feel that, it feels very empty. And that's where my heart is going to be looking for food or something to help me through that time of being alone. This is so uncomfortable. I need something to make me feel better. And that's okay. But what's important to know is that let's not blame the food. That's okay. It's just being here as your ally when you're in a time of being alone or even with other people, but feeling disconnection from yourself. So when we look at loneliness, instead of calling it, I'm alone or I am lonely, what if we said, I'm feeling disconnected from my true self? I'm feeling separation from my true self. Now that sends us on a completely different path of exploration. Now I might start to ask the question, how do I get to know my true self and who I am more? Then when I'm with myself, I'll feel like my companion. This can become a very transformational experience, especially if we have the spaciousness to be alone. Because what happens when you're alone? You're finally in a place where you don't have someone else's judgments, someone else's expectations of you. You don't have to fit into a mold of being any certain way other than the way that you want to be. When you're alone, you get the opportunity to discover and feel the real you. What would it feel like if I felt who I really am without the stories that I maybe accumulated in my life from a teacher, from a coach, or a parent, or someone who ingrained this message or made me believe that I wasn't good enough, or I didn't fit in, or I didn't belong? What if I felt myself and who I really am so deeply that I belong to myself? I didn't need to question if I was good enough because I love feeling who I am. Not on did I achieve certain things in my life, but do I feel in my heart who I am? And that is what allows us to feel the sense of connection and belonging within ourselves. What I do think is important is, as human beings, we were not meant to be in isolation for a long time. So it is also important to have human connection, to get out, to be involved in things, to talk to people, to have conversations, to feel like you have genuine friendships. Those are important, and I don't want to take that away. But you also can see that being in certain social situations or having a partner or having friends can still feel like, what am I missing? Why does it feel empty and lonely? And the connection that we're longing for is often not something out there, but it's actually in here that we're really looking for. So how do we begin to feel the truth of who am I? That's the question that I want to explore. To start connecting to you, the true, authentic you, find a time where you can actually be alone in a quiet space. And maybe you sit with yourself and you close your eyes and just observe yourself, just breathing. Kind of like a baby breathes, the baby that's just being. You can follow along and do this with me now if you want. You can just observe yourself breathing with your eyes open or closed. And naturally, the judgments and the loud mind wants to come in. Notice if you can say, okay, just quiet down. Those are the stories. I'll come back to you, mind. And setting aside the judgments and the stories that maybe you've learned from your past, kind of take those and set them aside next to you. And just come back to observing your body breathing. And now think back to a moment in your life where you felt the most like you. Maybe you were so present that you were not thinking about judging yourself. You weren't hard on yourself. You weren't self-critical. You were just busy. You were so busy being you. Maybe you were like playing in the ocean, or you were getting married and you were just in this captivated bliss. or you were a child and you were playing, or you were cuddled up with somebody on the couch, or you were at the park on the swings. Think of a moment when you were so present, you were just being you. It could be any age. Maybe you're laughing, you're being playful, curious. Now hold on to that moment and realize that is your authentic you. When it's so present, it doesn't have to meet anyone's expectations. It doesn't have to fit into a box or be different. You're just being and existing. And in that moment, you don't question if you're good enough. Nothing exists except just you. And that is your true authentic you. That is the truth. So see if you can stay connected to that moment where you can almost feel that essence of who you really are. Maybe even smile a little bit at this moment, like just so happy or peaceful, present and playful. Connect to how you feel in that moment. Notice the qualities that you like about yourself in that moment. Did you like the sweetness? Did you like the playfulness? Did you like the feeling that was free? Can you almost feel yourself as your companion, as a friend, as somebody that you want to be around? And feel in your heart how that person feels and breathe it in. Maybe it's freedom, playfulness, and let your heart really feel who you are when you are your most authentic self, without the judgment and without the stories. Now get to know this person a little bit more intimately. Now, the more that you feel this true authentic you in your heart, the more you can start to know this is who I truly am. And you can question the other stories around what are the stories that I learned? Let those go. I'm not good enough. I don't fit in. I love this person who is truly me. What are the stories that you're ready to let go that are keeping you from connection within yourself? Now, the more that you get to feel your authentic self, the more it feels whole. So what I want you to do is to find any experience in life that you feel most like yourself. For me, it's like if I do a dance class that's really fun and I'm following the instructor and I'm in presence and I'm watching them and I'm just like laughing and I'm in joy and I'm trying to do this dance move and there's music and I'm laughing, nothing else exists. Just me in my purest joy. And that's what we want to look for to find connection. Not necessarily that we're with another person, but we're experiencing moments in life where I feel most like myself. It might be around other people, or it might be completely alone. So here's the next challenging question. Am I willing to create enough space in my life to sometimes be alone so that I can feel who I truly am? To give myself time to feel and connect with myself without having to show up for anyone else, being a certain way, looking a certain way, acting a certain way. I can be in the space to see, who am I? And when I feel that truth, can I stand powerfully in it? Feel how that feels. I'm connected to who I authentically am, and I stand powerfully in it. Now that feels whole. And I know it can be a little bit of a journey. Look at the difference between this. Now let's say that you're feeling lonely and you're having a craving or a sugar craving to try to feel a sense of connection. But then someone says sugar's bad and you try to take that away, it's going to feel empty and lonely. Now, what if instead we don't focus on the food and we focus on, how do I feel more connected to myself, to fill that empty space of loneliness, to feel who I am and feel like my own companion? Now we're rebuilding wholeness from the inside The food doesn't even matter because when I feel that wholeness from the inside, I'm not using food to do that for me, to feel like it's providing that for me. So don't worry. If you have the cravings, don't worry about them. Don't stress about them. Bring your focus in here. How do I get to know myself? Food is just a mirror for the connection and the wholeness that we want to feel, but we can do it in here. It might take a journey. This is what we do in Mastering Mindfulness. I never tell students, get rid of the food, take away the food. Instead, it's asking for, what's the feeling that you're longing for? And let's create it together. Let's start from in here and fill it up and fill it up and fill it up. Then these willpower fights would go away. We wouldn't have to force and grit. I understand why we would want the unhealthy food if I need to feel something inside. But if I can make my journey and my focus on what am I trying to feel, can I get to know myself more deeply? So now it feels like I have a companion. There's a knowing of myself and who I really am. Then loneliness turns into this really sweet aloneness that I like to be with me because I'm good enough, I'm fun, I'm playful. Instead of I'm alone, I'm not good enough, I don't know who I am. Feel the difference? That is the path. I truly believe that everything that we need and that we're looking for, it really starts in here. I hope this gave you some insight today. This is the kind of stuff that we do in Mastering Mindfulness. If this resonated with you, gave you an aha, I would love to hear it. I'll see you next time.